is Shamari, but I go by Shay. This is the Shay Charlotin Podcast, and I'm so excited about this. This podcast is dedicated to honoring and highlighting Black entrepreneurs and creating community within the culture. So I have a very special guest as my first guest on the podcast, Mr. Edward Parks. He is one of my closest friends, my brother that I never asked for, and just someone who really inspires me personally. So I'm very happy to have you, Edward. How you doing today?
I'm good. Sis, how you doing? What's going on with you?
I'm good. So, like I said, you're the brother I never asked for. So how far did we go back? How did we meet?
Man, we go back. We have to go back at least to, we was 13 when we met. I feel like 13, 12.
And now we 25. Ain't that something?
We old. We got gray hairs and everything.
Oh, speak for yourself. I ain't got them.
Oh, well, I mean, all right, count your days. Count your days. It's gonna come. I promise you that.
I remember before I met you, my mom used to always come home talking about you, about like how smart and special you were. And I'm like,
well, first of all, because I know we trying to, you know what I mean, but let's just break the ice for real. You thought I was white at first. Let's get that out the way.
I thought you looked like Stephen Hawking.
Cut. Like, okay, we was gonna leave it at the white, but you was like Stephen Hawking. I'm like, we gonna get canceled as soon as we say that. All right.
You said break the ice, so I broke it.
You broke it, demolished, you burned it. I was like, we can't even get past the first episode yet. All right, well, go ahead. That was funny though.
No, because when my mama first started taking care of you at the school at Parkway, she did not tell me that you was a Black she didn't tell me that you was Black.
No. But shouts out to Mama Gwen though. Mama Gwen.
That's her. That's it. That's the one. That's the reason why we do what we do. Well, one of them.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite memory between the two of us, or just in general, like, you know, coming up together?
To be honest with you, the most fondest memory that always comes to my mind is honestly the last time I think me and you spent time with my mom, who since passed, but we went to the swap shop.
Yeah.
Went to the swap shop, rolled out to the swap shop and literally just walked through and had fun, like ate food and cracked jokes. And then we went to take you home. And then when we took you home, we realized that our neighbors and our cousins live right next door. So,
right down the street, yeah.
And they was having a party, so we just went over and vibed over there, and it turned into like, you know, just a good old fashioned, just old Black time. It was a good old. It really
was. I feel very grateful and honored to have been able to spend time with your mom before she did pass. She was talking her ish though, but we had fun that day. We really did.
Yeah, that's Penny for you. That's Penny. Penny gonna talk that talk. Penny gonna talk that talk.
So what you up to nowadays? What you currently doing for work? What you do?
So right now I'm a graphic designer.
Okay.
And I'm a DJ. And I'm a business owner, and stepping into the motivational speaking aspect of kind of bringing all of what I do together to kind of make it make sense to others, to them not even having an excuse for having an excuse for anything, because at the end of the day, like, I've built something that people pretty much told me that I wasn't even able to do. You feel what I'm saying? So now that I'm in a position and I'm grown now, I don't let my disability or anything like that kind of discourage me from being great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the episode 1 of the podcast, I speak about excuses, and in this point of my entrepreneurship journey, taking the big jump, the big leap of faith, that's one of the many things that I've learned.
I'm so proud of you too, sis. I'm so proud of you.
Hey, man.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
You doing something big, you doing something crazy, you doing something that what other people would consider to be crazy, and you just pretty much leaving everything behind and starting fresh and starting new in an entirely different state. You know what I mean? And
Right.
not really having any expectations in regards to just letting your grind and letting your success that you want for yourself lead you. You know what I mean? So I'm proud of
Absolutely.
you. I'm proud of you.
Hey,
I'm proud to call you my little sis. Look, little sis, because I'm older than you. And yeah,
by
not even
just like a few, like literally like 4 months.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I'm
it.
still older. Yeah. My birthday, they say happy birthday to me first.
True, true. So I don't want to let the excuses part go just yet. That's one of the things that I've learned, is that you really have to not allow yourself to succumb to your excuses. And
No,
a lot of the excuses that we have are valid, right? Like, let's
of
take you for
course.
instance. This is a reason why I say you're so inspirational to me personally, because I've watched you grow into a person where you don't let any excuse stop you from what you want to be. It might kind of detour you into a different path, but you have been creative in being able to adapt to your disabilities, adapt to your life circumstances. Like, we heard how you just spoke about how you lost your mom. How old were you when you lost your mom?
14, dog. I was 14 when my mom passed. I didn't even get to high school yet.
The fact that your mom passed away when you was 14 years old, that's a very valid excuse for someone to, just sit in that grief, for someone
I'm
to
sure.
let the depression overtake them, and really just, especially when you're 14 years old, like, that's the most pivotal time of your life. So
Yes.
losing your mom is a very valid excuse. And also, considering the things that you do, DJing, graphic design, et cetera, your handicap, limited mobility, and things like that, those are very valid excuses. What percentage of your success can you attribute to not allowing yourself to give yourself too many excuses?
Honestly, 100% of it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Because of the fact that it's kind of predicted, right? By you just listing all of those excuses that I've honestly could have made, it would have done two things. It would have kind of gave people that, well, it's expected of him to not be able to or be able to. And the second thing is, I like, at the end of the day, there's nothing I can, it's called life, right? This thing that we living in is called life. So there's no need to kind of cry over spilled milk. And one key thing I want to make sure that we add on is 2 months prior to my mom passing, my dad also had a stroke, right?
mm,
So so I had to kind of, I in 2011 was a crazy year, but I also have two younger sisters. So I had to kind of still be a big brother to them. And I'm the oldest, so I definitely had to make sure that once my mama passed, that I had to be kind of like the dad and the mama in certain circumstances. Cause like I had to make sure that when I got home that they were doing their homework. And because my dad wasn't able to kind of get around and make sure they was doing what they needed to do. And washing clothes, I physically can't wash clothes, but I know about YouTube University. You know what I mean? So I definitely put on different YouTube videos and had them watching that and how to fold clothes and all that stuff. Like literally, it was kind of like I use my technology that I've used that kind of been assisting me all my life to kind of help me get my sisters one to being able to graduate. One of my sisters working on her master's. My other sister was in the service and then she left, but then now I got two nieces out of the situation. You know what I mean? So, and
yeah.
they're all just doing great things. So I'm proud to say that regardless of me giving all the excuses that I could have had to for me to not allow my disability or my limitations to get in the way, my sisters even have no reason to give an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I made them lead by example in ways that, like, I own a business. You know what I mean? And I'm not even trying. Well, I don't even own a business. I own a few businesses actually. So for me to now be a double, triple business owner, it's kind of hard for my sisters to even say I can't do something because you looking at somebody that's, you know, been kind of through it all. You know what I mean? So, you know, we
Exactly.
just I'm my biggest thing is just to make sure that one, my sisters are being led by a good example in ways to where they can definitely grow and they can tell their friends and tell their people like you have no excuse because I have a brother or I know someone or even like with my friends like even you like and all of our people in high school like literally like it was kind of, and I've heard this on a multitude of occasions where people was like if it wasn't for like Ed did it. So if Ed kid was able to be in a commercial music program and he was making beats and he was the high school DJ for all the basketball games and he was doing this, that, and the third. Like there's no reason why we can't do whatever we put set our minds to. So that's really all it is, man. That's I feel like that's kind of like my overall reasoning for being here on earth. That's what I'm God sent for. You know what I mean? To
Oh
make sure
yeah,
I spread a light on being great and you know just not having an excuse for anything.
I like that. And I do. That's one thing, I never really thought about when we were growing up. Like, I remember when you came to school and you was telling me and Mama Gwen how your father had a stroke, and I remember how that took a toll on you. And then literally 2 months later, I get a phone call and you tell me that horrible news that Miss Penny passed. And I never really thought about the fact that you had to step up as a big brother. So I really want to commend you about that, about stepping up. And the common theme here right now is not giving yourself an excuse to not, number one, show up for your family. And I feel like I'll say I'll say aside from Auntie Sonia, you're probably the second most generous person that I know personally in my life.
Ooh,
Um,
that's a I'm right. Auntie Saya. Auntie Saya is one of the
she
listen, listen,
she Oprah kind of generous, ain't she?
listen, listen, listen. You get my love. You get my love. You get my love. Shouts out to
So
Auntie Saya too.
shout. That's the day one. That is the day one.
Auntie Goofy. Auntie Goofy.
So how much of your success would you say can you attribute to your generosity? Like, how has your generous spirit helped you connect with people and really, be successful in the long run? Because a lot of people operate off of a scarcity mentality, thinking it's not enough to go around to other people. And not only are you generous with your resources, but you're generous with your time, your energy, your skills, your talents. So how much of your generosity have set you up to get to where you are today?
To be honest with you, though, I really feel and it took us to get to kind of this age for me to really understand this, right? At the end of the day, knowledge is nothing if you're not sharing it with anybody, right? So
Yeah.
there's no need for me to kind of hold what I know and to hold the things that I learned to myself and just feel like I'm the big honcho and I'm the big man. Like if you need something from me and it's in my power to give and to help or to assist, I'm definitely going to be that person. You know what I mean? Because there's no need for me to sit back and see you needing help, and for me to sit back and be like, yeah, I can help her, but I'm not. That's selfish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't it doesn't value up to anything. At the end of the day, like it really costs you nothing to care. It costs you nothing
Mm.
to just give a little bit of your time to a situation. That's kind of like my mantra and the thing that I stand by. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you. And I just want to pause and publicly thank you because this microphone right here that y'all looking at and this camera right here that I'm looking into um, was a seed sown by you. All I did was call you and tell you the idea. And not only did you take the time to give me advice about what kind of equipment that I would need, but you bought it. This is the kind of stuff I be talking about. The boy
Yeah.
Ed, not only is he an inspiration, but he really does put his money where his mouth is. And I feel like it should be a lot more people like you in this world, because I've heard somewhere where um, community is the best form of currency to have. A lot of people out here chasing paper, chasing, the next bag, but really, if you don't have any community behind that bag, behind that paper, then you really enjoy it? Do you have anybody who's willing to celebrate with you? You know what I mean? And I feel like, um not to say that you're not already doing the thing, because you are really doing a phenomenal job of what you're doing. But once you really get to where God has you to go, so many people are going to be clapping for you because of your generosity and your heart. That's the missing piece that a lot of people don't really consider nowadays, especially in our generation.
You gonna make me shed a tear, man. My head, man. I ain't
I
gonna
mean, it
cry.
is a
I
look.
ain't gonna cry,
I ain't
but
trying
I
to blow your
appreciate
head up, but you got to give people
my,
credit where it's
my
due.
head is all, my head is already big, so we
The
can't,
ears
you
too.
know,
The ears too. That's
that wasn't even necessary. But no, I appreciate that. And again, like whenever I hear somebody passionate about doing something and taking them steps into moving forward, like you said, you want to do with the podcast, and you kind of want to document this journey that you taking into that leap that you talked about in your first episode. Like, I really want to make sure that that's getting documented correctly. And again, like if I have the resources and I have the knowledge and any way I can assist you, you know that I'm always here for you. And like I told you, it ain't nothing but a call away. If you need anything, I'm always gonna be here. And a majority of, well, not even majority, all of my friends that I call my friends, they know that I'm always gonna be
most there.
here, and I'm gonna always definitely try to do everything in my power to be there by their side. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. So what's the biggest L that you've taken so far, and what did you learn from it?
That's a deep question right there. Now you ain't, ooh, huh, hmm.
I mean, you don't got to put all your deep
No, no,
business out
no,
there,
no, no,
but
no,
like,
no, no.
what did you think was gonna be like a banger, and it wasn't even a swinger.
No, I like that. So one thing that I'm gonna say that I took an L on, excuse me, was coming up with an idea and not following through with it, right?
Mm,
Because a lot of times what I'm realizing is a lot of my ideas that I come up with be good ideas, but the idea can be amazing, but it's all about the follow through. If you don't have any type of follow through with it, that idea is kind of just a figment of your imagination, right? So
mm,
as long as you can, as long as you, it's one thing to have an idea and to put it out there and to tell somebody about it, but then it's another thing to actually take the time out and make sure that you figure out a plan and figure out how you can get this idea in your head to become a reality. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
at the end of the day, if you just keep saying that you have a bunch of dreams and you tell people a lot of your dreams too, because that's a big issue that I find a lot of us having, right? Is that we always like to kind of prematurely tell our dream to people before we even figure out the dream for ourselves. And what happens is when we tell people our dream, either they will put something in our spirit to make us feel like it ain't good enough or we need to go back to the drum
Mm,
board. But in actuality, we haven't even figured that ourselves. So we allowing someone else to kind of put in something on our dream that we've already had in our head that God gave us. God given us all these dreams. Cause you know what I mean? So if you don't really take the time out and figure out and be confident in yourself and be confident
mm.
in God's word, right? And I ain't trying to preach,
Nah, take
but
us there.
if you
Take us there.
if you sticking in God's word and you trust in God's word and you do everything in His time, you're gonna win every time. And that's how it. And just to kind of add on to that, and it's supposed to be an L, but it was an L for another idea I had, but it ended up becoming a W for this one because with EPiK Academy, right? So outside of me kind of kind of doing a lot of my a lot of my graphic design work, I was like, you know what? I would love to start teaching people how to design, how I do design. And that's just me again, not being selfish with the gift that God gave me. I want to spread that. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a
Absolutely.
way I've learned a way of designing to where not everybody could do it, but a lot of people like to do it. So again, kind of me just saying, why would I want to hold this to myself? So again, like I literally just kind of had a conversation with myself, had a conversation with you, and I had a conversation with another one of my best friends, Rachel, and she literally was just like, do not don't just put this plan out there, throw it out to the wolves. Y'all both said this, don't throw it out without conceiving it first in your brain. Plan it out, write it out, make it plain, right?
Yeah.
When you make it plain and write it out and figure out a structure for it, everything else is gonna build itself up around it. And that's what I did. And now I can proudly say that I officially have started my master class. Well, my master class will start April 6th through the 8th. And because of me starting my master class, I was looking for a platform to actually put it on, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't find a platform that fit how I wanted to give my instructions. So, you know, I slept on it, and then my crazy self, God know how crazy I am. He put something in my, he was like, well, if you can't find the platform you're looking for, make one of your own. And so that's what I did. So EPiK Academy literally is a platform that I built that I'm going to be teaching on. And once we get the wrinkles out with my first class, I'm definitely going to start bringing on other instructors onto it. So I really would love for it to be a community of instructors that's teaching courses to people that, you know, people that might not have the opportunity to teach and they have a talent, and for people to receive that teaching and might not have the finance, the resources too, but you, for you know, for a small field, whatever the case may be, you can literally learn from a pro. You get what I'm
Oh
saying? So
yeah.
that's kind of like the purpose behind that. So again, I'm sorry, I took your question and threw it out the park, but I really just wanted to kind of let people know that it's the difference between holding on to a dream and keeping it to yourself until it's a full dream. It's another thing to let somebody tell somebody else your dream. And that's the L that I took, was telling a dream to someone and they kind of putting it down, but it's all about having a follow through at the end of it anyway.
Oh yeah. So I love that point that you made. Well, those you made a lot of points, but the main two I want to talk about right now is telling your dream to small-minded people. Steve Harvey, someone who I look up to, and I know you look up to him as well.
You
Um,
know,
he has this motivational speech where he says, "Stop telling your visions to small-minded people." And he said, "Of course, people cannot see what God gave for you to see, because God didn't give them the vision; He gave it to you. So you can't expect somebody to see a vision that God gave for you to see." An example of that to see is the popular story of Noah's Ark. And he kept telling people, "It's man, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain," and people looking at him like, "Man, it ain't rained here in how many years? It ain't never rained here." And he kept telling them, "It's gonna rain. Let's prepare." Nobody else around him wanted to prepare. It was just him and his family, and he built that ark. And sure enough, when it rained, it poured. Where we come from, it don't rain. In the fact of it doesn't, the money just don't look like it's ever gonna fall out the sky. It takes a certain boldness to believe that the money is gonna come someday, and you steady just building, like how Noah built his ark. You steady building your platforms. You're steadily building yourself as a person, as an individual. You're steadily building others around you. So when it does rain, you're going to be able to, capitalize on that blessing. Um, and you're really going to
talk.
be able to take off into new territory. And I'm so excited for that for you. But another main takeaway we can take from that also is the follow through. Like, you can believe all you want that it's going to rain, but if you don't take the time to build the structure that you need to protect yourself
From the rain.
from the rain, you're gonna be like the other people that Nora was trying to warn, you know. And I bet when it started drizzling, they wish they had helped him build that boat.
Listen, look, and see, I'm petty. I'm big petty. If I was listen, but I don't. It sure enough look wet outside. But
and that's the purpose of this. That's the purpose of this podcast, though, is to let young Black entrepreneurs like ourselves to remind us, like, okay, it's gonna rain. Like the money is gonna come. We gonna see the fruit of our labor someday. But you gotta keep preparing. You gotta keep building. You gotta keep, you gotta really just hold on to that faith and hold on to that, like you said, the vision that God gives you. In order to, when it comes, you'll be ready for it. So let's talk about EPiK Academy. So EPiK Academy is your platform that you built yourself to teach a course that you built yourself. That's crazy. So what are some of the, what was that experience like, building not only a course, but building the platform for the course? And what are some things that you learned through that experience?
Man, listen, I'm gonna answer the last part of your question first, and then we're gonna go back into the first part. But it definitely took a lot. I've learned patience. I've learned a lot of patience because in today's society, we kind of live in a microwavable society where we kind of want stuff right then, right now. We don't really have time to wait. I definitely had to kind of sit back and wait for a lot of things in regards to making sure that before I even stepped into this field, right? Because we're really talking about an educational institute for the most part, not a virtual educational institute. So, well, you have to learn how to simplify it down to the smallest form, and then build back up, because you have to teach with the thought process of nobody knows what you're talking about.
Right.
And you have to build up on it. And this is a sidebar, and I gotta say it. To all of our educators out there, y'all are very unappreciated.
Oh,
y'all y'all should be getting a whole lot more money than y'all is getting. Because listen, even me teaching my little petty little master class, like
ain't nothing petty about it.
But in petty in the aspect of what a teacher that went to school for a multitude of years had to pass tests to teach kids how to pass tests, right? And they getting paid the minimum wage. That's crazy. So for me to have to kind of step in, I'm not going to even say step in the shoes, but almost take a glance through the window a little bit and kind of get an understanding of what they do. They're definitely they definitely deserve a lot of credit. So shout out to all my high school, middle school, elementary school teachers, because y'all definitely got me to where I am now, and I definitely appreciate everyone for what they did. And I just want to make sure everybody gets the most out of my course or any other course that I want to offer.
Sidebar: who was your favorite teacher?
I would be doing a disservice if I only said one teacher. I can't say one because
let me put it like this. Go ahead and list off all the people who have, played an important role or inspired you along the way.
And by no means is this in any specific order. Okay, so we got Mr. Israel Charles, the music production teacher. Well, back then was the commercial music teacher. He is now the art director. He is not an art director over the entire Dillard High School. He's the one that kind of accepted me and was willing to take on the role of like allowing me to come into the program to even go to Dillard. So we got Mr. Charles. Now I got to go to my English teachers. I got Miss Talley. You have Miss Tice. You have Miss Hilton. And those are all of my English teachers. Some reason English has always been my favorite subject in regards to. I've always kind of got I always found those classes interesting for the fact of literature and kind of making sure my vernacular.
Honey,
help me, Jesus.
It's vernacular.
I forgot that. I
Vernacular.
had to wet my tongue. But vernacular, huh? Huh? Had to make sure I get my vernacular. Had to
That's
get my
it.
vernacular. See how I had to get my
Boy,
vernacular together just then? But yeah,
boy,
so
you got
then
it.
you get me cutting up on here, man. So look, after that, but then you have Mr. Wright, you have Miss Rosalind Hunnigan, you have Miss Tori Telfair, you have you have Mr. Corey, who me and you both shared for a while.
That's
He
the
was an
goat.
orchestra teacher as
Oh
well
yeah.
as the as became the commercial music teacher. I'm trying to think of who else. Who else? And Lord, I hate that I'm forgetting names right now. Miss Miller, science teacher.
She was a
I
tough
gotta
one.
listen, but I
Lord
love Miss
have
Miller.
mercy, Miss Miller.
Listen. My best quote from her, she said, "Excuses ain't nothing but glorified lies." You hear me? And when she said that, I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna take that one. That one, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my back pocket right there. That was good." But man, listen, the teaching staff at Dillard High School alone. I hate that. I feel like this is just a plug for Dillard High School, but literally
No, it's only right. It's only right.
between their performing arts and their actual educational, like the general education teachers at Dillard High School, you can't help but to give them their credit because they're literally like the best. And nobody at Dillard High School seen me for my disability. They see me for Edward. They didn't say that boy in a wheelchair. They didn't say Edward in a chair or Edward with the Edward needs one time. No, Edward, period. It kind of trickled down to my peers and my student and my friends at Dillard, right? And they didn't even see me for the wheelchair. They didn't see me for my disability. I can't express in the words how much Dillard High School has played like a vital role in my in the man that I am today because I literally got taught everything at Dillard. You get taught how to dress. You get taught how to, you got to learn how to stand in the paint at Dillard too now.
Oh,
Just because I'm
oh.
in a wheelchair, that don't mean, listen, I done heard some jokes. I done heard some jokes, boy. Hey, listen, let me
Ain't
tell you
gonna lie,
something.
it used to be kind of bad how we used to do you in high school. I ain't gonna even
Listen,
lie.
listen. But I appreciate it though, because it definitely taught me in the real world that nobody's gonna show you any pity. Or if you can't get into a room with someone, if you can't get in a conversation with someone, make your own conversation, build your own conversation, make others want to come to your conversation. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
it's literally being a leader. If you don't become a leader at Dillard High School, then you didn't graduate from Dillard High School.
Oh yeah.
Period.
And I feel like that's something to be said, and why we have so much pride in our high school, because we're really bred differently. Like
Cause we cut from a different cloth, baby.
Dillard really was a place like that's so special, and it allowed like so many people with so like raw talent but not the best circumstances, and they really taught us like don't nobody care about what you got going on at home. Is you gonna do what I asked you to do or not? If not, get out the way.
We going full
Oh
speed
yeah.
ahead. Don't slow down.
So back on EPiK Academy, how important is it for people to educate themselves in the graphic design or in Photoshop?
So, if we're talking on the aspect of graphic design, right? We're living in a because of the pandemic. We've realized that a lot of people have become their own entrepreneurs, right? And
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic or the panoramic, right? We definitely had to like kind of build our own and make a way out of no way, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what I got an influx, like a crazy high volume of people wanting flyers done, of people wanting to get certain things designed and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I'm like, if and again, like it back then, it was kind of overwhelming because I was getting so many people that was wanting flyers, wanting logos done, wanting this done, wanting that done, and it's a lot of people that kind of when we have conversations, it was like, man, I wish I could do it myself, man. But man, the way you
Mm.
think and the way that you doing it, only you can do it. But in all actuality, it's not necessarily the fact that I got the mindset. It's more so I just know how to work the tools to get what I got in my head onto the
Right.
screen. And if we can break down that barrier of tools being in our way of kind of building what we're trying to build, everybody can obviously is creative. Everybody is creative in their own manner. If you thought about building a business, you're creative.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you know what you want, if you know what you want in your head, it can definitely be put down on onto the computer screen. So again, like I just I'm kind of, that's why I'm definitely taking this EPiK Academy platform and situation, these classes serious, because I definitely I don't want to shortchange anyone. I want to make sure that whoever is on my platform, they receive what they need, that what they came there to receive, and the people that are teaching are teaching on a platform or in an environment to where they feel like they're being held to a higher standard in regards to whatever they're teaching. So even if we're talking about just outside of graphic design, even if I have a music instructor to come onto the school, onto EPiK Academy, right? I want them to be able to be in an environment where they can have the right resources and how to, like, maybe like a virtual piano on the screen to kind of show what they're doing on to their students, and it'll get the point across a little bit more. Because in all actuality, if you really think about it, and what the pandemic has definitely taught us for real, we don't need to go anywhere to learn anything or to do other even work for real. Because now we can do everything inside of our house. We literally was living in an entire, probably about a year and a half, kind of sort of, because some people in Florida, they didn't see a pandemic. They was like, we outside all year. But for the majority of us, we really realized that we don't need to go into these workspaces if we can do the same thing at our house. And it's even a little bit more convenient, because now I ain't got no excuse to be late to your workplace because my computer is right by my bed. You hear me? So I can literally just, you know what I mean? So it definitely allows for the for the entrepreneur and everyone to kind of come out and to be stirred up in the times that we're in now. So I feel as if EPiK Academy is just another vessel that people can use to kind of sharpen up a skill or to even learn a new skill.
And I'm glad you said that now is the time where everyone should have some sort of entrepreneurship journey happening, or trying to learn how to be more self-sufficient in their streams of incomes. Because as the 2020 taught us, as the pandemic taught us, nothing is guaranteed. How lucrative would you consider graphic design or image editing to be, as either a business or a side hustle for someone?
Man, listen, everybody in some way, shape, or form needs a graphic designer, right? If it's even for a birthday party, you need some type of way to advertise you having a birthday party, right? So you're gonna seek a graphic design to get that done. And let me not, I don't want to give the illusion that Photoshop is the only resource that's able to get that job done. You also have things such as Canva, and because we're living in a new world, like, we can literally build an entire flyer on our phone, right? We don't even need a computer anymore to do anything. We can literally work everything off of a phone. We can run an entire business off of these things in our hand. You know what I'm saying? So for us to now be in a position to where everybody can become their own bosses, and everyone can be their own entrepreneur and create something, it can be lucrative to anybody, because graphic design doesn't just limit it just from an advertising standpoint. You might have an old picture of great grandma Lucy back there in a box somewhere, and and this look old and raggedy, and you want to
bring it back to life.
Bring it back to life. You can. Yeah. That's a graphic designer's job, and that you can get paid some big bucks for that, because I know I do. Hey.
Okay, well, since you bragging, how much you made? How much you raking in every month?
Oh, okay. You get that. You in my pocket.
I mean, you ain't gotta give us the dimes and cents, but give us a general.
I'm gonna give you For a full-time graphic designer, which I would consider myself, I make anywhere from 3 to 5 thousand every 2 weeks, right? So if you
Y'all,
multiply that,
wait. Pause by that. Pause right there. We are talking about someone who has physical disabilities with his hands, who is tapped in, didn't make no excuses, tapped in, and now he's making between 3 to 5 every 2 weeks. You know how much schooling, how much college, how much master degree, how much trade schooling people do to make that kind of money? You can attend EPiK Academy and potentially supplement your income $3,000 to $5,000 every 2 weeks. So, considering how much it costs to go to college, which is tens of thousands of dollars, how much it costs to go to trade school, more thousands of dollars. Um, how much of a gem is it to attend EPiK Academy to tap in and get you a coin with graphic design? How much are you charging for your classes?
so right now, and because this gonna be my first time publicly even saying the number for real, I'm only charging $150 for a 3-day masterclass, right? Within this masterclass, you getting me for 2 hours for 3 days. And in those 3 days, I'm literally going to kind of teach you everything that I've learned on a professional level, on how to create a flyer in less than 30 minutes, right? But we're not just, you don't need to know how to work Photoshop to take this class. Literally, my first day, I'm literally just going to teach you guys the fundamentals of Photoshop. And even if you understand the fundamentals of Photoshop, I'm going to teach it in a way that I know that no one's ever taught you, because I'm going to teach it into a way to where you can apply it in the way that you can get something done in a quick and fast fashion. Because again, we living in a world where everything is kind of fast paced, right? We kind of need these flyers ASAP. So with that being said, I'm going to teach you how to apply tools into the most effective ways possible so you can get stuff done in the most fastest way, in the most time, in the less time consuming way possible. Um, so yeah, that's my little, that I'm pretty sure that if you after the 8th on my last class, April 8th, I guarantee you're not going to be disappointed that you made that investment, because not only am I just going to give you tips, I'm also going to be giving you some resources too, to where I'm going to be giving you some files to where you can use some of these templates that I'm going to give you to kind of speed up your design process. So I'm pretty sure y'all gonna want to tap into that. I'm almost for certain. You better tap in.
And again, I just want to highlight your generosity. You're like, I don't think you understand how big of a, well, you probably understand how big of a deal it is, but I don't think you're really grasping like how generous that you're being, offering not only an introductory course into Photoshop, but you're also giving people your blueprint, your templates, what you have done personally to make the kind of money that you make just from graphic design. Because we didn't even talk about the fact that you were DJ. We're gonna have to come back on another episode and talk about those endeavors or your motivational speaking or your other businesses. Um, but just off of graphic design, you have been able to really enrich the quality of your life through your income. I really want to commend you for that, and I really think that if you are considering joining EPiK Academy as a graphic design and Photoshop student, you should not waste any time. And I understand that spots are limited, right? How many spots do you have left over right now?
So right now we have like about 10 spots left. If you want to take this class, you can. And if we need to add more seats, I can. It's virtual. You feel me? So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So listen,
Absolutely.
I'm ready to tap in with everybody. I want to make sure that I'm putting something into you so that when I leave from this class, I can literally open up my own business as a graphic designer. That's how I want you to feel. Like there's no reason why no one can not be creative, because we're all creative, especially
Okay.
Black people. We creative for real, for real. You feel me? So
It's in our
we
genes.
Yeah, it's in our jeans. And if we don't, even if you don't wear jeans, it's in your slacks. Huh? It's in your cargos. Huh? It's in your Daisy Dukes. Huh? Talk to me. It's in your drawers. Even if you're watching this right now, in your drawers. It's in them too.
Why
We
I got?
creative. We creative.
Wait a second. Why I gotta be in the bloomers? Why I gotta be in the Daisy Duke? Why I gotta be in the
Listen,
pantyhose? Not the
listen, bro, I
stockings.
can say
So I heard you say that your one of your main inspirations for starting this course and also building your own platform to have an academy was the fact that you had so much business, too much business that you couldn't even handle it all. So you just wanted to have some students so you have something to pass on to other people.
listen, my
Um,
goal is to be able to literally tell other people, like tell clients, listen, I'm not able to do it. I'm unavailable to do it. But I did teach some. I know another good graphic designer that's kind of under my wing, and not even necessarily under my wing, but they're a good graphic designer as well. I want to give you their information. I want to be able to give one of my students, somebody else, one of my clients' information, because I trust in myself enough to know that what I'm going to teach you, I'm guarantee you're going to retain it. I'm guarantee you, because I'm not going to teach you anything that I feel like you're not going to be able to use. You get what I'm saying?
oh yeah, and again, that just speaks to your That's the main word of the night. Your generosity. Um, so again, you have no excuse. It's only $150. You get a 3-day course. You say you get the fundamentals of Photoshop. You get all the templates on how Ed do his flyers and his image reconstruction. And on top of that, he providing leads to get your own business. You can't beat that for $150. You have gurus out here that's charging $2,100, $3,200, $5,000 for this kind of value. But you're just throwing it out there for the 150. I will personally be tapping in to see what Ed got, what Ed talking about, and shoot, I'm finna get this money too. It's just like how y'all are. What advice can you give an inspiring entrepreneur like myself, who is trying to make money off their talents and their gifts?
Don't give up on anything. If you have something that was initiated and was fueled in your mind for anything in life, now we're not even talking about business. If we're talking about, if you want to take your wife out tonight, but you're like, she kind of mad at me, do it. Again, it's about the follow up. It's about staying true to you and just staying true to what you believe in. As long as you keep those things in mind, you're gonna always succeed, regardless of what it is.
And going back to when you were 14 years old, and you was looking at your dad who was grieving the loss of his wife. You were looking at your sisters who at the time, what, Ebony was what, like 12, 11?
Yeah, 12, 14, 12, and 10. So I was 14, Ebony was 12, and Esther was 10.
You was looking at your precious 12 and 10-year-old sisters in the face, like realizing that the trajectory of your life was never going to be what you thought it was going to be prior to that. If you can go back and visit your 14-year-old self, what would you say, and how would you comfort that young man in that moment?
What would I tell my younger self? First I would tell him to definitely make sure that God is always kept first. I definitely had nights. I'm not gonna say and make it seem like, I was Mr. Dun, 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 dun. Like, I definitely had moments where I wanted to definitely give up and fold. I had a lot of nights when I cried, but I definitely know that the person that my mom and my dad instilled in me, I definitely know the man that they wanted me to be was definitely somebody that didn't give up. Like, my mama always taught me, like, when you're talking to somebody, look them in their eyes. Don't like let them know that ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You was regular, just like everybody else. You just sit down with it. That's all it is. Everything else about you ain't nothing wrong with you. You can have a conversation with everybody else. You got a slick mouth just like everybody else. So that means you can have a conversation with everybody else, a respectable conversation with everybody else. So that's one thing that I'm just grateful to God, and I'm grateful to my mom and my dad for instilling in me, is the fact that pity, excuse me, that pity should never be an option. Looking back on my 14-year-old self, trusting God, and throw away them doggone Timberland shoes that I kept wearing back in when I was little. Jesus, I wore the heck out them things.
Faithfully.
I thought I wore them like I was from New York or something. What's up, son?
From the time we met when we were 13 and 14, you and I have been bouncing ideas off of each other, bouncing our dreams off of each other. And now it's so good to see that you have something tangible to share with the world. And I'm so excited to, number one, be a student of yours, and number two, see where God is going to take you. So if you haven't already, where can they find the link for sign up? How can they?
So they can go to EPiK.academy. It's not .com, it's .academy. Go to EPiK.academy. You can go on, you can log in, you can where you can register. And when you register, you just, you make that small little donation of $150. I guarantee it's gonna change your life forever. You're gonna make that back. I guarantee you're gonna make it right back. You're gonna make it back tenfold.
You're gonna make it back tenfold. Guaranteed to make that back. So Ed, I want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate you for making this podcast happen, or helping make this podcast happen. And
I say this you, man. This you. I just again just supplying my resources, man. I'm glad I was able to definitely help you. And again, I'm proud of you as well for again taking that leap from Pompano to Tallahassee. Hey. Now you in Texas.
Man,
Shay, you doing it. You doing it, man. I'm proud of you. I'm glad to be in the presence of you and seeing the woman that you've become, and seeing the strong Black woman that you've become. And I'm glad that we're able to I'm always nothing but a phone call away, and I know it's likewise with you. And I love you, man.
I love you too, man.
Out there forever.
For sure.
And close out before I get all emotional and start crying again.
So that wraps up episode 2 of the Shay Charlotin Podcast. Where can they follow you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at epic.gram. You can follow me on Facebook. It's my name, Edward Epic Parks. I don't be on Twitter. You can't follow me on there. LinkedIn, I'm Edward Parks. And again, tap into my masterclass, April 6th through the 8th. We going up. I guarantee you won't regret it. I promise you. You're going to be great.
Y'all be safe. Love y'all. Have a good one.